Welcome back, guys. AnimeScale here, and today we are ranking the 20 most powerful villains in Naruto and Boruto. One thing to keep in mind is that this will be about villains only, so someone like Itachi or Koji won't make the list. Strap in, because this will be a fun one. Let's get into the video. We're starting off this list with Danzo, a character that everyone loves to hate. In terms of pure fighting ability, Danzo doesn't really match up with most of the series' other antagonists. Sure, he can spam Izanagi, kind of use wood style, and knows many high-level Winjutsu, but none of that really makes him too dangerous compared to other villains in the series. He does have Koto Matsukami, which would let him beat stronger opponents, but that can only really get you so far when all his other abilities aren't that strong. Moving on, at number 19, Boro, who is definitely a lot stronger than people give him credit for. Not only can he pack a punch, but he also has absurd regeneration to the point where you either have to destroy his core or vaporize him all at once to beat him. If that wasn't enough, he can also emit poison in the air, and that will take out anyone he's fighting against. This poison is not made out of chakra, making it lethal even for Karma or Rinnegan wielders, since they can't absorb it. The entire Team 7 plus Kawaki weren't enough to beat this dude, forcing Momoshiki to take over Boruto's body in order to save his vessel from destruction. Kisame is one of the strongest members of the Akatsuki, and for good reason. He's probably the single best water-style user we see in the entire show. He also has the chakra to back it up, having reserves that rival tailed beasts, let alone ordinary ninja. In Boruto, Orochimaru is stronger than ever. Not only he has access to all sound for Kekkei Genkai, since he absorbed Kabuto's chakra in the 4th Shinobi War, but in his spar against Victor, he's shown being capable of regrowing entire limbs without hand signs. Not to mention that he's one of the few shinobi capable of performing the Edo Tensei technique, one of the most broken jutsu in the series. Pain is the first person we see in the show with the Rinnegan, which was hyped up as being the strongest dojutsu in the entire world. Pain, of course, more than lived up to the hype, showing us one crazy technique after another as he used the Rinnegan to its full potential. Not only did Pain end up killing Jiraiya, but he was also responsible for flattening the Leaf Village. He isn't just one of Naruto's most important villains, he's also one of its strongest. Spiral Zetsu is one of the villains that flies under most people's radars when talking about Naruto, even when he's no joke. Originally, he was a human victim of Kaguya's Tsukiyomi, later modified with Hashirama's DNA by Madara. While controlling Yamato, Spiral Zetsu was so strong that he was able to fight thousands of the shinobi forces all by himself, at least for a while. This included several Kage-level opponents, more than showing off his strength. Being a clone of Hashirama, he's one of the few people we see able to use wood style. Now, his techniques aren't as crazy as Hashirama's, but using wood style at all is a big deal, and enough to earn him a spot here. Sage Kabuto is what you get when you perfect everything Orochimaru was trying to do. With a perfect Snake Sage mode, the Sound 4 Kekkei Genkai, and a technique that lets you control the environment, Kabuto was able to go toe-to-toe with both EMS Sasuke and Edo Itachi at the same time. He's also the best Edo Tensei user we ever see, with there not really being any limits to the number of people he can control at the same time. "13 spot for Delta. She was our first sign that Kara was an organization meant to be taken seriously. Being a living scientific ninja tool, she has good regenerative abilities, and with her bionic dojutsu, she can also absorb every kind of jutsu and shoot it back at the opponent, meaning you either have to overload her jutsu absorption or stick to using taijutsu. She can also fire off a beam that is meant to counter any kind of healing technique her opponent might have. Even adult Naruto had to be careful not to get hit by the thing, and that more than shows off just how strong she really is. Now we've started to get to characters that are on a completely different level of power. Indra is the direct heir of the Sage of Six Paths and was regarded as a genius by Hagoromo himself. We haven't seen too much of his abilities, but we do know that he both had the Sharingan and a perfect Susanoo to match. He was an almost perfect match to his brother Asura, despite Indra never getting Six Paths chakra. Urashiki has possibly one of the most interesting abilities in all of Naruto. He can experience the future with his Rinnegan and then rewind time to get the perfect edge in battle. Using this broken ability, he can both have the perfect offense and defense roll into one. However, this guy was defeated by a drained Sasuke and 2 genin, therefore I can't put him any higher. After absorbing an incomplete 10 tails, Obito was more than keeping up with literally the entire world trying to take him down. He was making people like Minato seem slow and shrugging off the strongest attacks every Kage plus Naruto and Sasuke could throw at him. Obito was meant to show off how strong being the 10 tails Jinchuriki made you, and he definitely delivered. Like I've said in previous videos, if Obito could still use Kamui in this form, Naruto Shippuden would have been a lot shorter. After the war, there wasn't much that could threaten Naruto and Sasuke. The two were literal gods, and Toneri was the first person in a long while who gave Naruto any trouble. Once obtained the Tenseigan, Toneri manifested the truth-seeking orbs, and a chakra mode that made him fast enough to keep pace with Naruto. His most impressive feat was, of course, being able to split the moon in half. But when Naruto got serious, he easily defeated him with a punch. Kinshiki is one of the most physically strongest and also fastest characters in the show. He doesn't really have any fancy techniques, letting his physical abilities do all the talking he needs to. More than fast enough to keep up with adult Sasuke, he's also stated to be capable of splitting entire planets in half, but all he really did in the fight against the 5 Kage was getting immobilized by Kurotsuchi and Chijuro, making this statement almost irrelevant. Yes, I included Valley of the End Sasuke, since at this point, he was serious about killing all the Kage and Naruto. To me, End of Shippuden Sasuke is stronger than both Toneri and Kinshiki. In order to defeat him, Naruto really had to go all out. And when you think about Indra Mode Sasuke, he's without a shadow of a doubt the strongest villain on the list so far. Everything about Madara screams overpowered. Not only he's one of the characters with the highest battle IQ in the show, much higher than Toneri's or Kinshiki's, but also has a world-scale genjutsu that none of the characters placed beneath him has. I'm not going to mention all the other crazy abilities, since I recently made a video listing down his strongest jutsu. Being the second strongest villain in Shippuden, Madara definitely deserves the 6th spot on this list. Fusion Momoshiki was one of the biggest threats the planet ever faced. He was able to hold his own against both Naruto and Sasuke. Sure, they were both around 50% of their chakra reserves, but this feat doesn't have to be overlooked. His taijutsu is top tier, having a pair of Byakugan, and he's a cheat code when it comes to ninjutsu, since he can absorb jutsus and fight them back with augmented power. Momoshiki is hands down one of the strongest characters ever seen in the verse. I know a lot of people think Momoshiki is stronger than Kaguya, but well, I don't. Kaguya is better in both genjutsu and ninjutsu, not to mention her teleportation ninjutsu that is shown being much deadlier. I was about to say that Momoshiki is at least stronger in taijutsu, but I remembered that with the vacuum fist, Kaguya easily destroyed Sasuke Susanoo. The rabbit goddess is my choice for the number 4 spot. The Jigen vs Naruto and Sasuke fight more than shows us how crazy he is. With his unique shrinking jutsu, Jigen demolished Naruto and Sasuke, both fighting all out and at once. Some chakra rods, a kick and a punch were enough for Jigen to defeat them. This immense physical strength was all coupled with him being almost impossible to hit since he could shrink himself. If you did somehow manage to hit him with a jutsu, he could just absorb it with karma. That's why it was such a shock to learn he wasn't even the strongest member of Kara. Yes, it's literally stated that without limiters, Code is stronger than Jigen. Even with his seals on, he's more than capable of killing nerfed Naruto and Sasuke should he ever face them in a fight. A lot of this is thanks to his white Karma seal, which grants him ridiculous strength without all the body-controlling shenanigans everyone else has to deal with. In addition to this, he also has an ability very similar to Minato's Flying Raijin, but we'll talk about that in more depth soon in another video. Take everything about Jigen and multiply that 10 times over to get Isshiki. He's much stronger now than he was when he was controlling Jigen's body. If his fight with Naruto and Sasuke before had been a fight, this time it was a slaughter. He's stronger and faster, and his shrinking jutsu is so much faster and more deadly. Honestly, even hurting Isshiki is a tall order. Only the fact that he was on a time limit kept Boruto from ending at the end of this arc. In a straight-up fight, Isshiki is definitely the strongest villain we've ever seen in the series, with only Baryon Mode Naruto even coming close. That's it for this list. Let me know if I missed anyone you wanted to see in the video, and I'll see you guys soon. This is AnimeScale out. Bye.